Hello, peoples. Big Sad back again, industry cosign. The latest edition of My Friends Are Better Than Yours. For those who are tuning in for the first time, my platform, I've been doing interviews and things of that nature for many years. And I decided to do My Friends Are Better Than Your Friends because I've either grown up, went to school, worked with like some dope people, and instead of focusing on the usual celebrities or executives I usually to, although some of them are, I decided that I'll make sure that I put forth the effort to make sure that my friends are more recognized than anybody that I've ever covered. And one of them is here tonight. We went to high school together. Well, she is a little bit, she went to school a couple years before me, but now let me stop.
Oh, we were still together.
I
What
know.
you
I'm
talking
just,
about?
I'm
What you
just
talking
being
about, Willis?
but the young lady that is currently on the screen, I mean, if we went through her accolades and the things she's done, then the interview would probably start on Thursday. So we're definitely going to touch on some of the things she's done and what she's doing. So I'm going to ask her to just give a brief intro of herself, and then that way we'll take it from there because there's so much to talk about and so little time. So I'd like to introduce Bernie Lawrence Watkins, Esquire.
Hey,
Hi,
hey, hey. What's
welcome to my friends.
happening?
How are you?
So I'm well. I'm well. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be on your show. And yes, we go way, way back, and I can't wait till
Exactly.
2026 when we celebrate our reunion. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, wow.
LaGuardia is deep in the heart. You know how it goes. But
Man, that's why.
let's talk
Woo, that's
about
next week.
my background. I've been practicing law for 26 years now, specializing in the field of entertainment, worked with a lot of people in the music industry. We
Love
also work with people in the film industry as well. I am a contract negotiator, contract killer, I'd like to say. I enjoy what I do. It's a great passion of mine, working with talented people and making sure that they get the right deals. That's what it's all about for me, getting the right deal, closing the right deal, and empowering my clients to do more and be bigger and better than ever. So it's been a treat doing it for so many years. I've seen my clients blossom and I feel blessed. In addition to uh, having a law firm, practicing law. I also am a professor at law. I teach at Georgia State University College of Law. I teach intro to entertainment law, so you can call me Professor Lawrence Watkins. And that's been going on 3 years now. And I also am the CEO of Eclipse Distro, which is a digital distro company. And yeah, that's a little bit about my background.
Okay, we are definitely going to have, like I said, a lot to talk about because you're kind of big in the game, for the few people that may not know. But I know you're based in Atlanta now. Grew up in Queens. We went to Music and Art, aka LaGuardia. I won't say when we graduated, but it was a while ago. And we happened to. I think our class was the only class that spent split times in the new school as we said back then.
Right.
And those that don't know, music and art, well, you have to be older for this reference I'm about to say because music and art and performing arts, there was a movie Fame. This was like in the 80s performing arts was based on. And we had so many talented people because it was a performing arts high school. We had many people that went there that were just excellent that happened to actually have a career where if we did a reunion of the people that went there just in the 4 years we went there, we can fill a stadium for the fans of the people that went there. But we can get into that at another time. But being that you went to school, if I'm correct, yeah, for music, right? Yeah, music. Yeah,
Yes, my major was voice.
yeah, yeah, voice. We both have vocal majors. So I know that people tend to do things when in high school and college, and they end up doing something for their career anywhere. You went for music. What led you into law, entertainment law specifically?
Sure. It's interesting. When I was in high school, well, my friends from high school tell me that I always talked about going to law school.
Okay.
But I just recall in high school, they would say you have to be willing to be a starving artist and also not being able to pay your rent and sometimes sleeping in your car. You got to be really passionate about the entertainment industry. And I was like,
You
I
want that
need
life.
food on my table. I need a house. I need a bed to sleep in.
It's not about that
And
life.
my parents were not, I'm from the Caribbean. I was raised in New York, but I wasn't born in the United States. I was born in a different country. So my parents were not having that. They weren't even having me going to LaGuardia. They were like, "What are you doing? What do you mean voice? What do you mean concentration voice? You got to go to college." So when I went to college, Ron was at college with me at Howard, and he was making beats at the time.
Oh wait,
He got,
hold on.
you know,
We have to mention who Ron is because I know who Ron is, but they know who Ron is, but they don't know yet. But Ron Lawrence, one of the dopest producers in general. And I gotta say what's up to him because he's a great guy as well. Ron Lawrence used to be with a
yeah,
Hitman
he
with
was
Bad
the
Boy.
original.
Yeah, and like I said, that's another station. But I mean, you see the lineage already. But go ahead. Sorry, continue.
Yes. So he had gotten a record deal. He and D Dot, and they were called Two Kings and a Cipher. But being his sister, I got to see firsthand what it meant to be a starving artist, and I didn't like what I saw. To be point blank with you, I didn't like it at all. I knew the struggles that he was going through, what he experienced, and then when they lost the deal, I was like, I'm going to law school. I'm going to make sure every artist that I work with gets the best deals possible. And those that are in bad deals, I'm going to get them out there bad deal. And I was like, I'm going to be an advocate for artists. That's why I'm going to law school. I didn't know any entertainment lawyers. I had no clue how I was going to pay for law school. And I was like, and I hated reading, but I was like, I'm going to become a lawyer.
That's what you have to do as a
So
lawyer.
it's funny because people didn't believe me at the time, but I went ahead and I did it, and here I am today. I was on a mission. I've always been on a mission. I stay on a mission.
So if Ron didn't venture into the music business, what were your plans before you decided to go into law? Or did you have any plans?
Sure. When I first went to Howard, I went in as a management major. I didn't like it. I had a few jobs and I saw what the managers in retail were doing and I didn't like it. And I switched my major to marketing. And on the sales side, I wasn't too fond of it. And I said, I couldn't see myself trying to sell products or sell anything to anyone. That just wasn't my personality. And people turned me down. I just didn't know how I would receive that. And I was like, you know what? I couldn't do it. I had gotten a job when I graduated from Howard. It was with a company called Household Finance. And the day that I was supposed to show up for that job, I called them that morning and I said, I'm not coming. I'm going to law school. And that was it. And I was just, I just I wanted to be in a position where I made decisions and it was a position of authority, a position that people respected, and that I could have an impact on people's lives. So why not become a lawyer? And with a law degree, I could be in a position where I can affect change. And that's really, life is about being in a position where you can help others and make a difference in their lives.
Now, I mean, you coincidentally went to two prestigious. Music Law was definitely a prestigious high school in New York City because we one of the only specialized high schools. And then you ended up going to Howard, with the tradition of, a black college, an HBCU. Um, how were those both experiences? Now, coincidentally, going to both, I know you've met people that we ended up becoming like in the same field, because like even though I didn't go to Howard, I damn near know half the people that went there, based on who graduated, or at least who went there, because a lot of people went but didn't graduate. But anyway, like, so you were already,
A lot of
I
people
think,
that went that didn't
yeah,
graduate. We're not going to say it. We
exactly.
ain't gonna do that. It was
And
just
you
a
know
few.
more than I.
You got to have a certain mindset. You got to understand when you go to school, you got to be focused. Yeah, you can have fun, but you can't let the fun overtake you. Everybody has a purpose in life, and you got to understand that purpose. And if you living for a different purpose, which is partying, that's on you. But my purpose was bigger than that.
Yeah, Howard was definitely known to be a party school at that time, and I'm pretty sure even still today. But going there, but like you said, that actually makes a better question for me, because you went to a school. Now, when we went to high school, we went to a special high school where we all were from different boroughs, because like typically in New York, for people that didn't grow up in New York, typically you're going to your zone high school, but we were one of the, I think, only like five schools, yeah, five schools at the time that you had to take a test to get into, and so you had to come.
Audition. We had to audition to
We had
get
to
into that.
audition, yeah,
I
exactly.
was not, I was adamant about not going to my local high school. I told my mom no. I said, I am not going to, it was a school called Brighton High School, and it was in Astoria,
Yeah.
Queens. I said, I'm not going there. I am going to music and art. It was music and art at the time. And because she was like, I'm not paying your way. I said, I'll get a job. And that's what I did. I got a job. So all through high school, I worked at the local
Oh, wow.
supermarket. So that's why I didn't participate in any extracurricular activities after school, because I had to take a bus to, it was a Q19B. I had to take that to the 7 train. Then I had to take 7 train to the E train, and then take the E train to the D train. And then, yeah, so
You take a boat, a helicopter,
it
and
would
then
take
walk.
me 2 hours just to get to school, and then 2 hours, sometimes longer in the afternoon to get back. So I wouldn't get home till about maybe 5 or so. And then I would go and work from 6 to 9 in the evening. Yeah. So
So
I had to be,
you were putting long hours in even in high school. Wow. So
yeah.
you were prepared to be an attorney.
I've always been disciplined. I've always been disciplined. I'll just put it that way, and
Wow.
focused. Hmm.
So my question to you is, well, I mean, it's so funny because, like I said, knowing all that now, I mean, 'cause we went to high school together, but once we leave to go our separate ways, we really don't care what we're doing because we're worried about what we're doing. So I didn't even know you were working, but I know that the reputations of the schools you went to, and then like I'm pretty sure you had an expectation of yourself just in general. And I say that because I know you from high school. So how was it like going to like two prestigious schools and then going to law school prepare you to be excellent in your field?
Sure. So, you know, I went to school with a lot of great people,
Thank you.
but fortunately for me, I don't live my life for anyone else but me. So it's not about making the comparison. Oh, she's great. Oh, he's great. Oh, I got to be greater than them. No, I always have to work to the best of my ability, understanding what my constraints are, what are my strengths, what are my weaknesses, what do I need to work on for me. That's what it's always been. I've always had a strong focus on me, making myself better every day. And that was a commitment that I made to myself, because when I was in high school and when I was in college, I wasn't one who spoke a lot. I didn't talk a lot. I don't know if you remember, I was rather quiet.
Yeah,
I was
quiet. Yeah.
quiet. I was a quiet girl. I was really quiet. Um, and I knew that if I wanted to become a lawyer, I had to change that. I had to, because as a lawyer, you're basically the voice for others. So you have to be able to speak up and speak out for others on behalf of others. So I had to work on those skill sets to make myself better. And I had to practice, even if that meant practicing in the mirror and becoming more confident. But it wasn't about my colleagues. I always respected my colleagues and always wanted the best. It was really a great feeling being in school with people who were trying to succeed. Everybody wanted to excel. And that really made me feel good. I felt like I was surrounded by a village of people who looked like me that wanted to do extremely well in life. And that empowered me to do more and become more and want more for myself. So
And
the
plus
focus was always there. And when I went to law school, the makeup of the law school was totally different. So stepping into that environment and realizing now that at Howard, you're the majority. We're the majority. But when I'm in law school, I'm the minority. So it helped me to understand that people will always look at you, criticize you, not because you're good, you're not good, but because of what you look like. And people just don't like you just because they just don't like you. But are you going to put yourself down or feel a certain way, negative way, just because other people feel a certain way? Yeah. At Howard, they teach us to be strong. They teach us to love ourselves. They teach us to always put in 200%. You have to empower yourself to always be the best that you can possibly be. So I went into law school with that mindset.
That's great. It's like, and the thing is, like I remember like going to Howard, during homecoming or just to down for the weekends. And I mean, yeah, I can understand why some people didn't graduate because of the jovial happiness that everyone had. But I also credit the people like you who were able to get through all of that and still able to graduate. As a matter of fact, one of my well,
Well, see, the
that's
thing is this. The thing is this. Said you have some people who go to college because they're told they're going to college. They don't know why they're in college. They're just going to college because their parents said you're going to college,
yeah.
and their parents said you're going to become a doctor. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. So they really don't know what they want to do in life or what they want to be. For me, I really wanted to make something of myself because of my background and like I said, my entire family is from a different country, and it was really about coming to America to live the American dream. And I didn't want to disappoint my parents, disappoint my family. Um, So why not get what I possibly can out of being in this place called the land of opportunity?
Now I'm gonna when I just have this. Oh, okay. So you have your own practice. I know I'm skipping because sometimes like I learn things to ask, and as I'm talking, other things come into
It's
mind.
okay. Stick
But
around. Do what you can. Let's just freelance. Just have a conversation. Let's go. I can go with the flow. Whatever you got, give it to me. Let's go.
now the reason why I'm asking this question, like I said, you have your own practice, and you've been doing it for years, and being not only from a different country, not only being a female, not only being black, like you've had to overcome so much to get into the position that you are in. Like, and as I stated, like how are you, like, okay, did you first start with a law firm, or like how did your practice, before your practice even started, or for I know your practice may have started with your first client, but like how did that all come about as far as the lead up to BLW? I
Sure.
forgot the
So
BLW.
when I was in my last year of law school, I was talking to a good friend, and that good friend happened to be Herbie Lovebug, right? Founder of Salt and Pepper. I was He was a mentor because remember at one point I thought I was going to be an artist, and I was his artist. I called him up and I said, "Look, I'm thinking about going back to New York because I went to law school in Maryland. I'm going back to New York, or I'm going to LA." And he said, "You need to go to Atlanta. We got LaFrace Records, and we got all this movement taking place. It's not like New York or LA, but it's starting to bubble. You need to come to Atlanta because there's going to be more opportunities." And he was in the process of doing some things there too. So that's how I ended up in Atlanta. But things weren't happening like New York or LA. It wasn't, Atlanta was not open at that time. So I had gotten a job at a law firm, but it wasn't, it was in the litigation department. It was, I was actually doing document review. And then I went to work in the litigation department, reviewing documents, writing memos, things of that nature. It wasn't as a lawyer initially. And then when I passed the bar, I moved down into the business transactions department doing closings, commercial closings. And then I decided to move on to the city of Atlanta because I had my first child. But while I was doing all that, I was trying to check out the Atlanta scene, trying to figure out who was who. I was doing a lot of open mic nights, trying to just, again, figure out the lay of the land. And, they're always fast talkers. People say they're this, they're that. And you have to figure out who's real and who's phony. But I was still traveling back and forth from New York to Atlanta, because New York was hot at the time. So I would go to the industry events just so I could meet the A&Rs and figure out, build that rapport with people. But in 99 is when I connected with my first real entertainment client that was doing something. Well, he had a project with Chris Bridges, who was on the radio, and he actually produced half of his first album. And it turned out to be Bangladesh, and ended up working with Bang, who became a very successful producer. We worked together for about 13 years. But yeah, he was like one of my first biggest clients. But before him, I did have some smaller clients when I was, doing management agreements and things of that nature for them. But my first real client came around 99. And then while I was working at the city, I was moonlighting. I was closing my entertainment contracts and working at the city during the day, but doing my entertainment stuff at night. And then I picked up my brother as a client. And I just realized I started making more money doing this moonlighting stuff that I was in my daytime job. So why not just open the doors full time? That's what I did. I was like, if I can make this kind of money on the side, imagine if I put all into what I could do. And hence, B. Lawrence Watkins and Associates came about in 2002.
So you basically,
and I've been signing my own check since.
Great. Congratulations once again. And for those that don't know, Chris Bridges is Ludacris. We don't have the same relationships that Bernie has when she's more formal with names and things of that nature. But yeah, I was going to ask you like why to move to Atlanta, but that makes sense because definitely at that time, Atlanta was. I think the Olympics had just left because that was '96, right? The Olympics.
Yeah, exactly, and that's around the time that I moved down to Atlanta. Yep.
Yeah,
that's right.
And it's funny because I was supposed to move to Atlanta back then. I have friends who still live down there that went down there for the Olympics. They all have like 9 houses and 17 cars, and they was only making like $4 an hour when they went down there. And I'm like, I should have went down there, But things happen for a reason. But what type of clients do you have? Because being an entertainment lawyer is such a wide spectrum, And
initially when I first started picking up my clients, they were music producers. And I would say like they were, I don't know, my first real music producer client again was Bangladesh. And then my brother came on board. And then I picked up a producer by the name of Brandon Dirty Bird Parrott. He did PIMP for 50 Cent. So here I got, Bang doing all of Ludacris' stuff. I got my brother doing records he was doing records for Luther Vandross, Aretha Franklin, Beyonce. He was doing some big records, just LL Cool J. So early in my career, I was stacked up, so I had a niche practice just representing producers for a very long time. I wasn't working with anybody else, just producers and songwriters. But fast forward to 2015 is when when industry started changing with the streaming and everything. And Napster, with the whole issue with MP3s and things of that nature, and streaming became a thing. There was a shift in the music industry, and more independent labels started coming about, and there were more independent artists. Then someone brought an artist to me by the name of 21 Savage. Said, we got this artist that I think would be good for you. You need to meet with him and see how the vibe went. And and the rest is history.
The vibe went well, obviously.
The vibe went really well, and that was great experience working.
I don't know if you knew this, but I used to produce music as well. And my first attorney. Well, let me rephrase it, because I love saying this. I was his first client. He also went to Howard. Matthew Middleton.
Yes, my dude. Yes.
We used to work. We worked at Bloomingdale's together when I was a freshman in college. Before he went to Howard, while he was going to Howard. And I remember one day he was going to Bad Boy. I was leaving Bad Boy, and I saw him in the street. And he's like, "Yo, I just got my bar, this, that, and other." He was an ADA. So I was like, "Yo, if I need you, I'll contact you." So I got a project. My first project was another Howard head, Tracy Lee. So I produced the title track on Tracy Lee's album. So the first person I called, because of course Mark Pitts was the one that I connected with.
That one?
Huh?
Wait, which one?
No, the first track on his album.
Okay.
Where he's like 60 characters.
Okay.
And of course Mark Pitts, because he went to school with us. So the first person I called was Matt. So Matt became my attorney. I was the very first client before he even became an entertainment lawyer, because he was working in assistant.
Right, he was assistant DA. Yeah.
So exactly. I love telling people that if it wasn't for me, Matt wouldn't be where he is today. But anyway, because like I said, the Howard connection was so like I said, I didn't go to Howard, but I knew so many people that went to Howard that it seems as if I went to Howard because a lot of things that I did do were like with either doing things with people from Howard and things of that nature. But I brought that up because, like, coincidentally, like I said, as a producer, like, Matt, I actually taught Matt some things, as far as some things as a producer, but I'm pretty sure he knows more than me now. But saying all of that, when you started getting some of these producers and these people to like basically approach you, like work starts to come on demand, so to speak. How are you able to? I guess let's go back to the question I had before when it comes to you running your own business as a young Black female. That you had challenges not because you were a female, but because of the way the industry operated and the chauvinistic mindset of most executives. Yes, I said most because I know what I'm talking about. Like, congratulations for overcoming that, because obviously you've done well because you're still doing it. How are you able to get through the old boys network in order to get, like you said, the things that your clients needed in order to satisfy, in order for them to get the right contracts and things of that nature, and also for you to be taken seriously? Like what like take me through the process of like.
Yeah, so that's a very valid question. I remember being a young attorney trying to find my way and figure things out, but I've always represented myself a certain way. I was raised a certain way to always be professional, always be respectful, even when people were not reciprocating. but don't change. Just always be you. And I just always held to that standard, and that's the same way I operate today. Uh, there were times where you call people, they don't call you back. You email people, they don't email you back just because they don't know who you are. They don't know who you are. And, in the entertainment industry, they don't know you. They don't respect you, basically. And so, like, who are you? Who do you represent? What's your roster look like? And if you don't have the names that are considered people are talking about, then people are not really you're not going to be a topic of discussion. It's not until you start closing certain types of deals, you start making money for your clients, and then your name starts getting around. And like I said, early on in my career, I was doing some nice work. And in the beginning, people didn't know that my brother and I were related. They just knew I was his lawyer. And I even had a lawyer once ask me when I was working on the Luther Vandross deal, how did you get this deal? And I said, excuse me? He said, yeah, how, you're a young lawyer. How did you get this deal? Then he said, I see y'all have the same name. Are y'all related? And I said, no, we're not related. I got the deal because I do good work. Thank you very much. Exactly. But really, it really boils down to the types of deals that you do. And once you start closing certain types of deals, working on certain matters, the name spreads. People find out who you are. They find out, oh, who reps that person? They see a client doing well, or artist doing well, or producer doing well. They want to know who's behind that person. And then they ask, most of my clients, even to this day, come through referrals. It's not about handing out business cards, say, can I represent you? I've never chased down a client, not like that. It's always been my clients referring me out and saying, this person's going to call you. I was telling this person about you, or a person will reach out and say, yeah, I was in the studio and your name came up. Or every time I tell someone I need an entertainment lawyer, they tell me that I need to call you. And I've heard your name at least 5 times. I said, let me call this lawyer and talk to her and see what she's about. So that's really what it has been for me. And again, I've always vowed to represent myself a certain way. I never wanted to be part of the party or the party. It wasn't about going to the party and being seen at the party. It was really more about what type of deal do you have? What are your concerns about the deal? Let's see what we can do to, if you don't mind me asking for the gusto, we may not get it all, but just allow me to push the envelope a bit and see what comes back. So it's really about your reputation excelling in the eyes of others. And then people want to then seek you out as a result of it. And that's what it's been for me. And when you have clients like 21 Savage who talk about how they've made money based on the deals that they're in, and we find out that I did the deal, then it's like, hey, so that's really what it's been about. He and I no longer work together, but we worked together for quite some time, and we had a great relationship. And I respect him and his entire team wholeheartedly. They're all hard workers.
I'm going to jump around again a bit, because like I said, I always do. I want to go into the you being a third-year adjunct professor. I should have been calling you professor. I apologize. How did that come about? What is an adjunct professor, and what like when you're teaching and when you're doing things like this, like I want to know what comes to you while you're being a professor, because you're already an attorney. You're already, you do so many things, and now you're a professor. So
yes. So my mom was a teacher, and I always thought that Oh man, I would never be a teacher because it was like, oh, teachers don't make any money. Why would I want to do that? No way. But as I've grown in my career, education has always been very important to me, and educating my clients and making sure that they're well aware of the deals that they're doing and why they're doing those deals and why we're asking for certain terms. And I find that when I sit with a client, it's always about the education piece. And they'll say, oh, you need to teach because you'd be really good. And I've had interns that worked for me, and they always said, look, you do a much better job than our professors. If you taught at a law school, you would be great. And I remember speaking to a class one day, and after the class, the dean walked up to me and said, would you like to teach? And I looked, I said, are you serious? I said, I'm dead serious. It would be great. And I said, oh, you know what? A few people have mentioned it. I'll consider it. And I thought about my mom. And this, my mom, may her soul rest in peace. This was my best way to recognize her and acknowledge her and what she has, how influential she's been in my life. So I'm glad I'm now able to give back to students in this way, because I'll tell you, it's a very fulfilling job. When I get up in front of that class and I have my lesson plan prepared for the day, and I ask questions and they're able to answer the questions, they raise their hand and we have discussions going back and forth. I'm just smiling from ear to ear because it's like, oh my goodness, you get it, you understand it, you got it. So it makes me feel really, really good to be in a process where I'm educating the next generation of lawyers that have an interest in entertainment. So it's a very fulfilling role.
Speaking of, since you said that, how do you manage time? Because you have like 740 clients, you have so many things. You're always being awarded awards, honors. I know you do. You speak at conferences, things of that nature. Like, and I know it can be overwhelming because even in my little world, I have to do some. Not that I have to, but I do some of these things. So I get it sometimes. But anytime I'm on LinkedIn, it's like Bernie Lawrence honored here, or Billboard this, or it's like, and then it's like, but yet, like, even like I've seen you maybe 2 times the last 3 years because I was in Atlanta, and it's like, but it seems like you're still Bernie, you're still like some people can't, they go crazy, they pull their hair out.
Look,
how do you do
can
it?
never let life get the best of you, right? I was a business major at Howard. My major was marketing, right? So I studied business. I learned the importance of time management. I learned, the basic principles as it relates to accounting, finance, management, marketing. In time management is extremely important, right? How you allocate time to different things that are important to you and how you manage your day. You have a schedule, right? And you have to be organized. So just keeping that in mind and going through your day. For me, I don't mind. I love what I do. So when you're passionate about something, it doesn't feel like work. So it's not like, oh my goodness. Or like most people that work 9 to 5, 5 o'clock, it's time to go. I'm not doing that. I'm looking at, okay, what do I have to do next? Let me close this. Let me look at this deal. Let me look at that deal. There are plenty of times where I have to say, Bernie, you got to shut it down. It is time to just go to sleep. So I do find time to work out because that's important to me. My health and wellness is extremely important. I take time to get massages, go to the gym, and travel. Things that are very fulfilling to me. I take the time. But again, to answer your question, it's a schedule. You have a schedule of your day and when you can talk to people. And like I tell people, don't text me throughout the day. Don't call me throughout the day. I don't have time to just hop on a call. If you want to call me, you got to go through my assistant. We got to schedule a phone call and we can talk at that designated time. And we're not going to talk for 2 hours. We're going to talk for 15 minutes, or the longest will be 30 minutes. And then if you want to talk, I got it. conversation is going to cost you. So once you start talking about money, only the serious people will come into play, and other people that just they fall by the wayside. Because again, the conversation is it's about money. We gotta we're on a clock here. So
exactly, you know, that's a real trait of a lawyer.
hey, it is what it is, right?
Now, since you mentioned about working out, you are also a triathlete.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Swim, bike, run. Actually, I wanted to do it this year, but wasn't able to. I injured my shoulder at the top of the year. Um, so my plan is to try to work it into my schedule for 2026. I want to get back. Yeah, it's a very fulfilling experience because you challenge yourself to push the limits. And for me, and I don't mind challenge. I don't mind pushing the limits. And again, it's such a good feeling when you are physically fit. That's always, I don't know if you remember me back in high school. I stayed in the workroom. I was always lifting weights. I was always in the work. I was always lifting weights. I had a brother that was a bodybuilder. One of my older brothers was a bodybuilder. I had another brother who was a runner. My brother would run from Queens to Manhattan like every day. I swear. Yes. Yes. And my other brother was a bodybuilder. So when we had a little gym in our basement, and he was always lifting weights, and I would be down there lifting weights. And in school, we had a weight room. I was always, you don't remember that? Somebody wrote that in my yearbook. They said the queen of the weight room, something like that. Yeah. That was me. I was always into fitness, always. And even when I went to college, I would walk 3 miles just to get to the gym, and 3 miles back to my room, my dorm room. Yeah, and I would work out for a good 2 hours.
I know I know I saw something either on LinkedIn or Facebook where you climbed a mountain, something like like in an hour. Now let me stop. But I
Now
think
I
you,
love mountain climbing too. Now it's a great workout.
yeah,
Yeah, definitely, it's a great workout.
I definitely saw that. Like I said, I know you like you
Heart rate
had a
going,
picture.
heart rate up. Yeah, diet and exercise. It's your diet is extremely important though as well. A lot of
Yeah,
people talk about working out, but they don't eat right. And for me, that's important. I make sure I eat right.
yeah. I got back into it recently because well, I'm not in shape, so you know. But I've been doing much better. My doctor said that my numbers been better because I'm more conscious, and I just hate that I let go of myself, but it's never too late. So you know I'm
It's
back
never too
on it.
late. Never too late. And yeah, we all nobody's perfect. We all slip every so often. I know I'm not a huge chocolate lover because actually too much chocolate gives me migraines, so I can't eat a lot of it. Yeah, so I may
Wow.
just have like I can't eat a whole chocolate bar. That's not my thing. I'll eat like uh, chocolate covered almonds. So
I've
I'm getting the benefit of the almonds.
I've
But
never heard of
that's the
anybody
part.
getting
I'm
migraines
not
from
eating
chocolate.
a chocolate bar. Like I don't do that. No. Or donuts and yeah, I'm not doing that. That
Yeah,
does
you
not
know
do
the whole process thing. But okay, like I said, I don't want to take up too much time. Okay, you mentioned earlier that you are CEO of Eclipse Distro. What is
Yes.
that? And yeah, what is that? And talk to me about it.
It's a distribution platform.
Well, I
Just
kind
like
of figured that, but I mean, you know, but you
it's
know,
so
streaming.
yeah, it's a distribution platform. We work with new artists, producers that are looking to distribute music. It's just like going to a DistroKid or any of the other distribution platforms. We also, you reach out to us if you have questions. We are responsive. We help resolve any issues or concerns that you have, which is something that you don't really get through other distro companies. And we're looking to revolutionize the distribution market. So I've been working with my team and it's been a great experience.
So you just figure, let me just put some more on my plate so that way, I could just be busy all the time as opposed to
All the time. All the time. Yes. I don't, my free time is like
right now, right?
things these are things that I choose to do. You see what I'm saying? These are things that I choose to do. So if I choose to have free time at a certain time, I just talk to Big Said, and then I got to make that time happen, right? So for me, it's like, and I've always been like this. I'm not the type of person that can just sit and have all this time on my hands, like, and not do anything, just sit around, do nothing, and just twirl my thumbs. That would make me go crazy. I can't do that. I have to be doing something. I've always been like that ever since I was a kid. Like I said, I worked in high school. I worked all through undergrad. I worked all through law school. I've always worked because I had to do something. Yeah, that's just me.
Speaking of doing something, I know you're very proud of your children, because not only because they're your children, but they followed in your footsteps by going to Howard University as well, and both sons graduated. Is that
Yes,
right?
yes, they both graduated. Yeah, but my sons, that was never an issue. They're smart. They are very independent, and they actually made my life very, very easy. I have to say, as a mom, very, very easy. Yeah, knock on wood, because they were good boys. And for them to go to Howard, now I just asked my boys, hey, where do you want to go to school? They're like, do we have a choice? Of course you have a choice. Of course you have a choice. Howard, you know? But no, they loved it. And it's just, Howard is one big family. And
Yeah.
now to go back and then go back with them as alum is great. It's wonderful. And then my son said today, my youngest son, he said, my children are going to Howard. They don't have a choice. They're going.
That's one thing I could say about like Howard, knowing from what I've known from the outside, where it's like so many people went to Howard because of their parents, and then now their children are going, and it's always been like a family thing. And even though Howard was one of the schools I was thinking about going to, my only regret is not leaving New York City at all, even for school. And actually, well, I had Syracuse and Howard and one of the schools that I wanted to go to. But like I said, you can't look back. You can only look ahead. But the thing I do know about people that have gone to Howard, um, it's that feeling of togetherness, and just like I said, a lot of people that I worked with in the industry were from Howard, to a point where some people thought I went to Howard not because they saw me, but because I'm around everyone else who's from Howard. And I'm like, no, I never went to Howard. I've only been there a couple of times, and this and that and the other. But I always appreciated
We're just so loving, and we embrace everyone. So it's just like, oh, if you're hanging around the Howard family, you're part of the Howard family. That's just how we are.
unless you're from Hampton, then I think that the trouble comes in. No. So,
We're the real, right?
but
Yeah.
what are some of the benefits that you actually, even before I ask that question, what are some of the qualities, not you specifically because you're already there, but what's some of the qualities you feel makes a successful attorney, specifically in entertainment? Because every field has this, whatever, but entertainment and sports, I know, are definitely like a make or break
I mean,
you.
it's a special. They specialized areas of law. And that was the thing, to be able to make it not just as a lawyer, but in a specialized field where so many attorneys want to try their hand at it, or tried their hand at it, and it just didn't work out for them. But for me, I'm not saying that they weren't determined, but for me, I just wasn't going to stop. My thought process is always, there's a will, there's a way. And I also think my background was helpful. I went to a performing arts high school. I have an ear for music. We studied music. We had to listen to records and talk about all the different instruments that were being played we had to be able to identify the sounds.
Exactly.
So yeah, I have an ear for music. So I have an ear for talent. So when I hear somebody, they don't have to. My clients start out small. All of them started out small without a name. Well, I should say the majority of them started out without a name. And it's like, wait a minute, you're talented. Of course I want to work with you. Oh, well, I don't have any money to pay. It's okay. We're gonna work it out. We'll help you make a lot of money. We're gonna make
We
some
gonna
money.
make some money
We're
together.
gonna make some money. Yeah, so I was able to identify talent and said, well, I'm gonna work with you and I'm gonna help you. And then the rest is history. So just having that ear for music is helpful. And secondly, as attorneys, we're counselors at law, right? You have to learn, you have to know how to counsel someone. Someone's coming to you, they talk to you about their situation, their problems. You have to be able to listen. You have to be a good listener. And it's not about me, it's about the client, right? And give good sound advice. So I do that a lot. I counsel my clients a lot. And you have to be one who pays attention to detail and in concern. Like what does your client want? It's not about me. I'm the lawyer here, right? I'm here to help this transaction go through. So I'm here to make a deal happen on behalf of my client's interest. It's not about my interest. I may not approve of the deal terms, but it's not about me. It's about the client. What's my client want? You know? And at the end of the day. So if you understand what's important here and who you're representing and you work under those interests, then you'll be successful. Because what I've seen in my practice is some attorneys throw themselves into it and it's all about them. And it's like, this is ridiculous. It's like, my goodness, they act like it's their deal. It's the client's deal. It's not your deal. You're just basically the voice of the client. But why are you going overboard? You have to know how to talk to people. You have to know how to establish relationships, how to foster relationships and see things through. Right, your client is hiring you to make something happen. And if it's not going to go through, it's not going to go through because the client didn't want it to go through, not because the lawyer didn't want to go through. You got to always remember whose interests are being represented here. And I think sometimes some lawyers lose that in the process and they make it all about them.
I would even predict that most in the field that we're in, based on what the stories I've heard and the people I know. But I don't want to, make.
Yeah, and I've never, because for a long time I've been in the background. And it's just like people go, oh, I heard of Bernie, but I don't know her because I'm not. It's not about me. It's about the client. It's always about the client. It's not about me at all. If someone respects me for the work that I do, great. But it's not about me. It's never about me.
So I have a question because I know it's happened, and I don't care if you don't admit it. Like, what happens when a client wants to do something and you advise them against it, but they're so like, I need this or I got to get this deal, and it's like either you can do better or the terms can be better. Like, but then because
yeah, sure, and that's happened. You're right. I don't put my name on that paper. I don't want my paper on that paper. No, because in the end of the day, bad deals like, oh, who's the lawyer that did that deal? No, I don't want my name on that paper. No.
I didn't expect that answer.
Gonna go on that paper. Not mine. No. Nope. We ain't
Okay,
doing that.
That's admirable. The reason why I say I didn't expect that answer because I know sometimes
it's not about the check for me. It's not about the money for me. My reputation is much more important. So I gotta protect my reputation. Hey, Bernie gets you paid. That's the word on the street, right?
The only reason why I say I'm surprised is only because I know some attorneys who have been with their clients for years, and they would tell me like, we had this deal, told them not to, nothing I can do, but I'm representing my client as opposed to your mindset of like, I'm not going to put my name on this deal because, which is definitely in my mind more respectable because, like you said, your name is still going in that contract, even if it's not for you or it doesn't hurt you. But I've heard some attorneys say, I I was 99% against this, but he kept stressing, and like you would walk away, which is
I'm not,
admirable.
yeah, I don't want to be a part of it. No, I'm not doing it.
Okay,
It's not about, again, at the end of the day, it's not about the money for me. And I've seen it happen, and I just tell them, look, you're trying to find, you you can find other representation.
that's true.
I'm not doing it. No,
So
no
anything that
way.
has Bernie's signature on it means that it's a great deal. Gotcha. No regrets.
No
Cool.
regrets.
Like I said, I don't want to take up too much of your time. Is there anything you have going on or that you have coming up that you like to discuss
And
or
then another thing I wanted to say, we talk about great deal. That term is all relative, right? Because you have to always consider where the client is at the time that they did the deal,
that's true.
right?
That's
So you have to keep things in perspective when it comes to these deals. Oh, someone just starting out trying to get their foot in the door, they're gonna take a certain type of deal because they're just trying to get their foot in the door,
yeah.
right? So you have to be mindful of that in terms of how you negotiate and in the terms that you get, and you can't come in thinking you have no leverage and then you're gonna get the world. It just doesn't work that way.
Yeah. That's cool. Like I was saying, is there anything that we can look forward to? Because I'm pretty sure you're always working on something. But is there anything that you'd like to discuss or can discuss? Because I know, especially with attorneys, y'all are so secretive because you have to be. If you're not secretive, then you might not be a good attorney. But let me stop. Is there anything that or even a better question? Is there anything that you want to do in the future, whether it's tomorrow, whether it's in 10 years? Is there anything that you look forward to saying that you want to do? Open a restaurant, um, fly a plane? Like, is there anything that comes to mind or that's on your mind?
Yeah,
Be proud.
I was actually
Be
thinking
proud.
about it. I was thinking about a judgeship, becoming a judge.
Wow.
Mhm.
Wow.
The funny thing is, as a little girl, that was like impossible. Like,
Wow.
how in the world would I become a judge? Like, what? A judge? That could never happen. Yeah, I didn't see that at all. But today, all things are possible.
We got a black woman on the Supreme Court, so yeah, you're definitely right. Maybe that's the next move. No,
And
but
also,
as,
I got to fit in my book. I got a book, 2026.
okay,
It's in the editing phase right now. So look
cool.
out for that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that then as well. But I do appreciate your time because I'm pretty sure when I hang up, you'll have some other deal that needs to be worked on, because the world doesn't stop.
I'm always working on deals. I mean,
That's what
it's
I'm
it doesn't stop.
saying.
Always working on
you
deals.
know.
Yeah, I got
Um,
a few pub deals right now.
well, what I want to say in closing is that you are definitely one of the people that I've always thought about speaking to when I decided to do this on a more regular basis, and because um, every time, like I said, every time I look up, you're like getting a key to the city. Somebody just gifted you a boat. Now let me stop. And I think that unlike a lot of our peers, even going back from high school, college, or even in the industry, I'm always proud of the people that I'm actually cool with or who I've done things with because even if I'm not able to do something or I'm not doing anything, I never liked when people didn't like when I did something that was deemed successful and I didn't do anything to the person. So I always make sure that, and that's like I said, that's one of the reasons why I said when I started doing these things again, I'm going to do it. I want to acknowledge the people that I feel that need to be acknowledged. Not that they are not acknowledged, because as I stated before, you know, when we hang up, you might get another acknowledgement, and I might look on the magazine and be like, "Damn, again!" No, but I say all that to say that I'm proud of everything you've done and all that you've become and look forward to everything else that you're about to do. And of course, every time I come to Atlanta, I always, check for you anyway. So next time I come to Atlanta, I'm trying to come to Atlanta this year actually because I usually go down there for Revolt. I didn't go last year, but I think that there's another conference that's in November. It'll come to me, but I'll definitely, reach out to you before then. You'll probably be there getting the award anyway. But as I stated, thank you once again. I appreciate, our friendship because, like I said, we've been friends for years, and I'm always happy to see people doing well. And oh, is there any way that anybody that's watching now that wants to get in touch with you that might be real talented or who may need somebody to lock down that great deal? Any social media or anything?
Sure,
That,
sure. So you can reach out to me on IG at Bernie Gets You Paid. That's BernieGetsPaid. Or I have another page called Ask Bernie. And then we have a page for the law firm, which is BLW Lawyers. Those are 3 IG pages. I have a website at www.blwapc.com. You can always reach out to us there, or you can reach out to me on LinkedIn.
cool, cool. Once again, thank you for your time, your friendship, and I'm pretty sure, like I said, the next time we'll talk, I'll have to speak to your peoples who's got to speak to your people, your other peoples to get to you.
You can
But
always
again,
tell. I'm not that person. I am really
I
not
know, I'm just
that.
messing with
Like,
you.
look,
But
yeah.
thanks once again, and to everyone
You can
that's tuned in,
see
and for everyone that stayed to the end or even came in, thank you for tuning in to My Friends Are Better Than Yours. And as you can see, this one is definitely a great one. And if you think your friends are better than mine, I dare you to introduce, and I'm pretty sure that they're either my friend already or I'll prove you wrong. Until the next time, Big Said, Industry Cosign, Bernie Lawrence Watkins, no, excuse me, Professor Bernie Lawrence Watkins, Esquire. Thank you once again, and
a
to
pleasure.
the next time, peoples,
Yes.
it's gone. Now, if I can find this thing to end it. Okay, end.